Hello, hello, hello! Good to see you again! I hope you're doing extremely well! If you're new on this channel, I am Fabricio Carminati, and with my dream team at FRH, French Riviera House Hunting, we help French Riviera dreamers to make their dream of moving in our beautiful region come true. And if you've been here before, you already know the series How About Living In? We explore towns and neighborhoods across the French Riviera so you can see where life might carry you next. Before I take you on a tour of this rising star of a neighborhood, let me quickly share some FRH news with you. First, if you haven't watched it already, you can check out our last podcast episode with Matthias, who bought and renovated a beautiful apartment in Nice with us. A truly informative podcast if you are planning to move here. And second, we are pleased to welcome a new member in our team, Helen Jenny. Helen is Scottish, lives in Cannes, and will be our dedicated agent for Cannes and the West Riviera. So, where are we today? We're in eastern Nice in a neighborhood tucked right at the foot of Montboron, alongside what used to be the Paillon River. This is a neighborhood currently in full comeback mode, getting a new lease on life. And thanks to its location, it's attracting more and more young professionals looking for something dynamic, practical, and evolving. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Riquier!
Need your space, then pull me close. I read your silence, louder than most. One day you're warm, the next day you're cold. Got me second guessing what I already know. I give you love, but you ration yours.
Riquier is one of Nice's eastern neighborhoods, bordered to the south by Rue Barla, to the east by the Corniche André de Joly and Montalban, and to the north by the railway line starting from the Joseph Pisano Garden, passing through the Riquier train station and extending to Boulevard Jean-Baptiste Vérani, together with Boulevard Rissot that defines the western boundary. We're starting our walk on Rue Barla, which is perfect because it takes us straight into the story of how this neighborhood was born. Let's go back to the mid-19th century. Nice is growing fast, really fast. To give you an idea, the population jumps from 23,000 in 1815 to 44,000 in 1858. That's almost double. Not bad for a seaside town. So naturally, the city needs space. And expansion begins across the Paillon River, pushing development towards the east right here. At this exact spot, there used to be a bridge, the Barla Bridge, built in 1899 to connect Rue Barla to Boulevard Carabasel. Why here? That's simple, because the port area was booming. The neighborhoods around the port of Nice, including Riquier, were turning into industrial zones. First, workers building the port lived here. Then came factories, warehouses, and logistics activity. Some streets, like Rue Auguste Gall and Rue Arson, became key routes for transporting goods between the port and the Paillon Valley. And then, in 1882, the Nice Riquier train station was built right behind me, which was a game changer. Connectivity improved, activity increased, and suddenly Riquier became a real commercial hub within the city. Fast forward to the 1960s, and here comes a very French urban planning moment. We decide we need land more than we need a river. So, starting in 1961, the Paillon gets progressively covered, section by section, year after year. Léotardy, Maraldi, Garibaldi, Barberis, until the river basically disappears under the city. Bridges are demolished, roads are built, and the urban landscape completely transformed. We're standing by the memory wall because the neighborhood has a tragic history. On May 26, 1944, the districts of Riquier, Pasteur, the Abattoir, and République were bombed by the Royal Air Force and the US Air Force. This took place during the Second World War. The operation was carried out as part of the Transportation Plan, a campaign targeting transportation routes to prepare for the Normandy landings. Yes, destroying things in Nice for the Normandy landings. Well, anyway. In Nice, there was one objective, Saint-Roch railway station, in order to disrupt the German occupation. The toll of this bombing was nearly 300 dead, 100 missing, 480 injured, and 600 buildings destroyed or damaged. The development of Riquier is deeply tied to the port of Olympia, which we covered in the port episode. In fact, some people still consider Riquier as part of the port area, but today it clearly has its own identity and it's becoming stronger every year. We're now in a central, mostly residential neighborhood where 1920s worker buildings sit right next to modern construction. And this is what shapes its personality. Unlike other neighborhoods in Nice, such as the Carré d'Or, Riquier was not designed with aesthetics in mind, but rather with functionality. quality. This is a real asset in the vision of the modern city that Nice seeks to embody. And ironically, that's exactly what makes it attractive today. Over the past 20 years, we've seen strong urban renewal and clear gentrification. Buildings renovated, new projects emerging, and a real shift in population. Riquier is evolving from a local working district into a young urban neighborhood. Today, it's a mix of authentic Niçois life and modern city energy. This is where you see the real transformation of Nice happening. Riquier is a local neighborhood with an authentic vibe and fewer tourists than central Nice. Here, you can experience a strong live like a local energy. It offers a great balance, not as expensive as the Carré d'Or, not as sleepy as more residential suburbs. When you live here, you're within walking distance of Place Garibaldi, the port of Nice, and the Old Town. You're also right to the newer extension of the Promenade du Paillon, perfect for a run, a walk, or just pretending you read a book while scrolling your phone. And if you want nature, Montboron is right above you, a proper green escape with insane views over the Mediterranean. This is a neighborhood to experience. Trendy spots are popping up here, like Mama Shelter on Boulevard Riquier, with its quirky atmosphere, where you can enjoy a pleasant time over brunch or a night out with a DJ. You'll also find historic pubs like the Cage on Rue Auguste Gall, which features live music from Thursday to Saturday. Riquier is also home to one of the Nice's most vibrant performance venues, the Stockfish, an eclectic musical hub that showcases talent, and trust me, there's a lot of it. Add to that the Saint-Jean-d'Angély campus with students, research centers, and constant movement, and you get a neighborhood that's alive. That's why Riquier attracts young professionals, first-time buyers, and experts looking for value without sacrificing location. In a nutshell, Riquier is central without paying central prices. For now, but not for long. When it comes to amenities, this is a classic 15-minute city situation. Everything is close. For daily life, you've got the Carrefour Nice TNL, a major shopping center, plus bakeries, supermarkets, pharmacies, all within walking distance. And if you need to go further, the Nice Riquier train station connects you directly to Monaco, Cannes, and even Italy. Perfect for commuters or those working in Monaco. You also have tramway Line 1 on Avenue République and Line 2 from Place Garibaldi that gets you to the airport in under 40 minutes. Plus, easy access to the A8 highway. So yes, logistically, this area makes life easy. Healthcare-wise, lots of clinics, medical offices, and of course, Pasteur Hospital, one of the main hospitals in Nice, reachable in under 15 minutes by tram. If you're considering moving here with your children, you'll be pleased to know there are several public schools nearby, plus you're close to university facilities at Saint-Jean-d'Angély campus. All of this makes Riquier a great option for families looking for a central and convenient location. Bottom line, this is one of the most practical neighborhoods in Nice. Now let's talk about real estate. What makes the personality of Riquier is that the buildings here are a mix of old-style buildings, structures dating from the 60s to the 80s, less charming but more functional, and brand new real estate developments. Prices are somewhat more attractive compared to the nearby Port neighborhood and comparable to those in the northern part of the Carabasel neighborhood, which I talked about in a recent video. However, with ongoing gentrification and constant demand driven by Nice's growing population and expert buyers, prices here are clearly going up. So Riquier is a good entry point into the Nice market, but you need to move fast as the demand, especially local demand, is concentrating on that area, which of course has an immediate impact on prices. If you're not afraid to undertake major renovations, then you can find good opportunities in Riquier. There are, however, a few things to watch out, as some streets are better than others. Micro-neighborhood is key. Building quality can vary, so selection matters. And yes, this is not postcard Nice, but that's not the point. Riquier isn't about charm first, it's about smart buying. This is where clever buyers go when they want central Nice, real lifestyle, and better value with long-term upside. So, let's see what we can find in Riquier. Let's start with this large, for France, 3-bedroom apartment of 92 square meters located along Boulevard Delfino, 5 minutes walking from Riquier train station, at the first floor with air conditioning and dryer, needing some decoration work, but in good overall condition, sold at 490,000 euros or 4,551 euros per square meter. The same apartment in Musicien area would be listed for at least 500,000 euros. As I was telling you before, if you're okay with an then you can find an opportunity like this apartment of 63 square meters with a nice outdoor space to be fully renovated, also located along Boulevard Delfino, sold at 275,000 euros by Lamy Transaction, or only 4,400 euros approximately, and possibly negotiable. A sign proving the upscaling of this neighborhood is the price of the new development. For example, this 3-bedroom duplex apartment of 83 square meters, located at the last floor of a new build close to the Mama Shelter meter we spoke about before with outdoor space is sold by Agent Niçois at 930,000 euros or 11,200 euros per square meter. And let's finish this tour by this apartment located Rue Barbéris in the heart of Riquier. It's a two-bedroom apartment of 70 square meters with outdoor space, open kitchen, sold by FECT at 329,000 euros or 4,700 euros per square meter. With light renovation like adding AC, maybe adding a bathroom or a small laundry room and repainting, redecorating for let's say 50,000 euros, then you would end up with a very nice apartment in Nice of 70 square meters for only 379,000 euros or around 5,500 euros per square meter. And now it's tip time! Have you ever heard about the 10-day cooling off period? One of the most beautiful French inventions right after croissant and long lunches is the cooling off period when you buy a home. And honestly, it's brilliant. The 10-day cooling off period allows you to move out of an acquisition deal up to the 10th day following the pre-contract signature without a reason and without any penalty. Remember the steps when buying in France? Offer, then pre-contract, le compromis, then final deed of sales, acte de vente. In between the offer and the pre-contract signature, you have about 2 to 3 weeks. So if you add to that the 10 days cooling off period, you have approximately 1 month to move out of the deal if necessary. This is the period of time we generally use to check everything about the property to be able to tell our clients that they can confidently continue to process or walk out because something is wrong with the property. That's what we do. We guide you through every step. At FRH, we've even created a full buyer handbook to make sure you understand exactly what you're signing and why. Okay guys, before we go, I just wanted to show you a place that is very special to my heart. It's a small café-théâtre in Riquier, Rue Quai-Sauty, called Le Bouffe-Scène, and that's where I took my very first comedy classes. The starting road that brought me a few years later to write and play my own one-man show. When you live here, or if you live here and your French is okay, you might want to come and watch a good French comedy. So, what do you think of Riquier? Any questions after watching this? Drop them in the comments. I'm always happy to answer and to help. I hope you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned, take care, and see you very soon for the next one.